Dates and Mates with your host, Damona Hoffman.
What's up, lovers? Welcome to Dates and Mates, your source for modern love advice, but we make it so simple for you to follow because love doesn't have to be challenging, especially during this holiday season where not only are we seeing the most number of relationships starting, it is cuffing season after all, but also we're seeing a lot of relationships ending. So today we'll be talking about how to survive a breakup. We also have some headlines in the news this week, including a new app for haters who are also daters. And we'll talk about a Hollywood sweetheart who is back on the market again. Plus, we have your questions in Technically Dating that came in from the Techspert app this week, including tips for moving off Tinder and onto a date IRL. And we'll ask, is it worth the risk if your best girlfriend wants to become your girlfriend? All that and more on today's Dates and Mates. Producer Thomas is out today, but we are joined by the lovely and talented producer Lauren.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I can't hear you all that well, girlfriend. Turn it up in my headphones so I can
got
hear.
you.
All right.
Is that better?
Yeah, I hear you loud and clear now. And you joined us over the summer, and I didn't scare you away enough that you were afraid to come back. So I'm glad.
No,
that you're here.
I learned so much, and I'm like, now I'm coming back so I can learn more and like secretly apply it to my love life that's non-existent. But it's been a blast, and I'm happy to be back with you guys.
Good. It doesn't have to be a secret. Because I want to shout from the rooftops. I have a guest in studio with me today that I've been trying to get on the show for a long time. I'm so glad that the planets have aligned to bring you all Naomi Grossman. Let me tell you a little bit about her because you probably know her as the character Pepper from American Horror Story, Asylum, and AHS Freak Show. You probably don't recognize her because she's gorgeous in person and she looks totally different from her character, but that's a testament to just how talented she is. She's also appeared in several feature films, including Table for Three, Short Stack, and Fear Inc. She's been considered for an Emmy, y'all, for Pepper in 2015, and she was named one of IMDb's top 10 breakout stars. You guys, her reputation precedes her. She's a gifted performer who also travels the country with live one-woman shows that share her true stories on love and so much more. So let's give her big smooches. Naomi Grossman.
Oh.
Did you feel that smooch?
Wow. I'm going to have to reciprocate.
Well, we're saving the girlfriend story for a little bit later in the show. But so we reconnected. We've known each other for a while, but we reconnected during a storytelling show. And you shared in that show, you've shared a few stories about relationships and breakups, but you shared a particularly shocking story about a breakup that you went through. I don't want to spill all the tea so early in the show, but can you give everybody just a taste of what you went through in this this dramatic breakup situation?
Well, yeah, it was a little raw. I probably shouldn't have been telling that story so soon after it happened to me. But kind of like your story about when your girlfriend wants to be more than just your girlfriend. Your girlfriend. My boyfriend at the time had a boyfriend. And a couple other boyfriends, and their boyfriends had boyfriends, and everybody, he and all of West Hollywood were conspiring against me, apparently.
And you just had no idea that any of this was going down.
Yes and no.
You had suspicions, but how were they? How did you remind me? How did you confirm that this was all happening?
I was staying with him at the time. I just bought a place that was like 4 blocks away. And it was basically my place was being painted. So I went over there to, not asphyxiate myself by the fumes.
Sure.
And
reasonable.
Yeah. I clicked on his iPad to see the time. I was not snooping. I just literally, my phone had died and I needed the time. Clicked on it and saw page upon page upon page of the most explicit gay IMs you can possibly imagine.
Just popping up right there in your face.
Bam.
So that's a pretty intense breakup situation.
Yeah.
And you said, maybe you told the story a little bit early, but was that part of your process in getting over the relationship ending?
Yes, in a way, because it was so abrupt. Yeah. There was no missing him. You know what I mean? I found that out. I confronted him a couple hours later once he came home, and then the first. I had to get through the night, go home, and just never ever lay eyes on him again. That was It was in that way. It was really great because it was so cut and dry. There was no breakup sex. There was no I miss him and all that BS that we go through. No, there was no room for misinterpreting this.
Yeah, but still, like it's a pretty public way to get over a relationship. But I know for some, like having some sort of artistic expression, that is the way that you can heal, right?
No, I was really thankful to have that as an outlet. That storytelling show in particular, and just in general as an artist, I feel like my stories would be wasted if I were just like a realtor. You know what I mean? The fact that I am a storyteller.
You'd sell a lot of homes.
Right?
People are like, I don't know about this house, but I just really want to talk to Naomi again. Like, let me go to the open house so I can just hang out with her and hear her stories. But I mean, people all over the country come to hear your stories. You do a lot of traveling around and sharing these one woman's shows, and you actually have a show, Carnival Knowledge, that is a lot about dating and relationships. Tell us about that show and what stories from that performance are connecting with people around the country as you're sharing it.
So what's my little catchphrase? 3 million men in the world. She only needs one to work.
That's what I always say, right?
Or is it 3 million? It's 3 billion. Billion at this point. So again, my odds. It shouldn't be that hard, but it is.
I mean, well, some of them are married, some of them are gay. But
right. Yeah. And
minus,
in my case,
take
most
away,
of them
carry the one, and there's got to be at least somebody.
Right. Well, and, you've got, I figure just like LA alone. I mean, you'd think I can pick and choose, I mean,
girl.
I'm so gorgeous, as you said before. We went to Northwestern, so I got a head on my shoulder. I mean,
successful.
And yet, you figure, well, I live in WeHo, so there's, nix that. Santa Monica, everyone's,
For those who are outside of that's sort of
that's
more
true. We got the beach
gay-friendly area, yeah.
They got to be smarter than me, so that's a whole...
No beach bums.
No.
Okay.
No, so, it is difficult. It's good that I do as much traveling as I do. There may be hope for me.
So the show, tell us a little bit about what that...
It's sort of I like to call it a comic... carnal romp, sort of details my own sort of dating history. It's primarily comedic, but it sort of turns about 3/4 of the way through when I meet a certain gentleman that is quite dramatic. There's the course of about 9 dates, or boyfriends for that matter. And it starts with my college boyfriend who's actually who I totally should have married if he's listening. Still
one that got
there.
away.
Yeah, totally. I just wasn't ready for him. I mean, he was like so perfect, but it was all the things that I was afraid of.
Interestingly, my college boyfriend is gay, so it's like it's like
reversal.
Yeah, right.
Very
I wish.
interesting. If only you had the gay boyfriend in college.
I could have.
Yeah,
but now I wouldn't have this story now.
Exactly.
Because see, I need a sequel to my show, and thank you, gay boyfriend, for that.
Yeah, exactly.
And all the others.
They give us the fodder for artistic.
I guess the
performance.
So it goes through a course of just a million like terrible dating misadventures until the last one, like I said, is this fantastically broke, bipolar, alcoholic, drug addicted, unemployed, uneducated, illiterate, illegal Mexican sewing machine repairman who ended up basically killing himself. Killing, is that a verb? He threw himself off the Santa Monica Pier in an effort to show me how much he loved me. Because
I can't imagine that ended well.
No, because there's so many other ways, guys.
Still living.
Chocolate works.
Yeah.
Flowers.
Flowers are nice.
Wait, but he made it.
He did. He lived.
But the relationship
He lived, and
did not.
actually, I saw him again recently in all my travels. I managed to go back to Mexico last year for a Comic-Con, and actually it was pretty fantastic. And again, this is going to the next show, but he got to see, the life he could have had.
Isn't that so sweet?
Oh, it was awesome. I mean, because let's face
Where
it,
you're like,
half of
eat
like
your heart out.
the reason we do this, it's not. I mean, yes, of course, I love. The art of it all, obviously, but a little part of me wants, to make it or whatever, just so that I can be on a billboard that, the gay boyfriend has to drive out and see every day. There is that, I'm not saying that's not a thing. And so, yes, being able to look out into, a sea of Mexican fans and see my one, like, just shell-shocked ex-boyfriend looking around going like, what? Because the last time he'd seen me on stage, I was doing bad improv with more performers than there was audience. And so for him to get to see me in that way, with fans like crying, like Ed Sullivan style, when the Beatles came to America, like that kind of thing. And they're like, lined up with their art and like their, pesos, like every penny saved so they can like get my autograph. I mean, I'm not proud, but well.
But when you've been working towards that and you've been honing your craft, like to have that recognition for the work you've done is really
well.
Is really
and
cool.
In the 14 years that we'd been separated, he'd managed to have this traumatic brain injury and break every bone. Then went on to have 3 baby mamas and was in and out of jail both here and in Mexico. All the while, I basically became one on IMDb. I mean, I'm not trying to brag, but I'm saying, like, he had his
It's
chance.
a nice feeling.
It's a nice feeling. But it must impact your dating life now because, you are someone that people know. And if you're having to get out of the West Hollywood circle, of course, I what kind of challenges does that present for you dating as someone who is an actor that
Well, I'm not that I'm so famous, but I'm not on Tinder. Like, I don't want to accidentally like swipe right on like a avid Pepper fan. I mean, that's just
But
weird.
I don't even think they would recognize you as Pepper.
You're right.
necessarily,
Well,
right?
yeah, and not only that, but Pepper fans are typically not male and definitely not straight. So, you're right. The likelihood of meeting like my number one fan and like accidentally dating them is very rare.
But it's still a little scary to you.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I want my guy to venerate me. I mean, that's part of it. But yeah, I do think, well, there you go. The ex, the gay one we talked about. I mean, I think part of why we were together was sort of this star effie sort of thing. Like, I think he really liked the gifting suites, as any gay does.
I was going to say, who doesn't like
Right?
the gifting suites, girl?
I don't blame
Are
him
you
for
trying
that
to be
front.
my girlfriend? That's more of a girlfriend.
Well, we're not to that part of the show yet, but it depends on which gifting suites we're talking about.
Yeah.
But I mean, you've been through a few breakups. So
Yes.
for those listening who are going through that right now or who have recently been through it, what advice do you have for them to heal and move on?
Okay. Well, number 1, yoga. As you know, we practiced side by side just yesterday. But I really do think that's important because I know for me, like, especially at that time when I told that story, I literally, like, every waking moment was consumed with, like, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. Like, that's all I could think about. And so to force myself on the mat and do something else, just think about something else, just my breath. And don't get me wrong, like, the very... I was still like, I hate you. Breathe in. I hate you. Breathe out.
You
Like,
had
it was
like
still,
moments of release.
yeah, but there were, and then soon the beats between I hate yous were longer and longer to the point where I actually stopped saying I hate you between breaths.
And
that
would you
was
say
important.
at this point you're
You're
over it?
Well, I'll be honest. There was, okay, so I went to therapy. I'd never
Also
done
good.
that.
Well,
And it seemed like, I've
no shame in that.
written a whole show on breakups. Like, maybe it's time, insurance is covering it, whatever. So I went for it. And honestly, I don't know that she helped me necessarily. I'm not trying to like diss her, but I think because she was like almost like a girlfriend to me. It felt almost like Sex and the City brunch, but like not
But
as
way more expensive without mimosas.
Right, exactly. I wasn't as fulfilled, satiated.
But you had your own process too, like having the yoga. And for those that don't do yoga, they're probably like, "Oh, I don't know about that." But
They should do yoga anyway.
well, everyone should do yoga. But I think it's the principle you said of being able to find the space to respond rather than react, and to create a gap between the event and your response to it.
Yes.
Because, we're just so used to like, we see something on Twitter and we're like, got to respond right away. Or like somebody says something to us and you're like, F you, and flip them off.
Right.
But like when you have a practice in your life that enables you to create more space, then you can be more thoughtful and not be consumed by your emotions and reactions, right?
Yes.
I know.
Which was very important because you remember that new place I bought right next to him had a pool that looked like an awesome place to just, bleed out, like Hollywood style, end it all. And I'm not even kidding. Like, it was really important for me to get some help. And one thing that that the therapist suggested I do that was really helpful was write kind of just some sort of apology to myself, like give myself a break, like, and it was
for having fallen for him and opened up to him when
I think I was holding so much blame for the whole thing as if this were in some way my fault, and it actually had absolutely nothing to do with me. I was fabulous enough to make a gay man straight temporarily. So
that's pretty fabulous. That's a way to look at it.
Relinquishing all sort of blame or guilt of the situation was really important. I do remember in one of our sessions, I'd said to her, I wish there were a way, like that movie with Jim Carrey, the Spotless Mind, whatever it is.
Oh, Eternal Sunshine.
Yeah, a way to just sort of erase him completely.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, but don't you remember that movie? Like, you could still never really forget. Now, I will tell you, I found a way. I'm not condoning this. It's not for everyone. Kids, don't try this at home. But so probably about 9 months into all this. So it was probably time. Like, I will say time heals everything ultimately. But I had an experience in which I dropped acid. And I'm not going to lie. I woke up the next morning, and when I say woke up, I do mean I closed my eyes for like 40 minutes. Between finally, I closed the eyes, and then 40 minutes later they were like back open, and because it's an upper, right? I'm not on it now, by the way.
I
But
wouldn't judge you if you were.
I remember, like, I woke up, and for the first time, I wasn't thinking about how much I hated him. I mean, it wasn't until like well into my second cup of coffee, not like I needed any, but it wasn't until then that I even like realized that he had ever been in my life, and that was major. Right? To go like a good 20 minutes to even like remember this person exists. And even then it was kind of like, I kind of like was able to kind of giggle about it. Like, another one bites the dust. And it's been like that ever since. And I told her, I was like, I found a way, by the way.
And she was like, I cannot recommend this to other clients.
Right. Although I did a little research, and it's really interesting. They talk about, PTSD and giving it to, veterans and people who've been through really kind of traumatic situations. It's a nice way to, again, not recommending it if you have like schizophrenic tendencies or what. Like, there are definitely dangers.
Do not try this at home.
But in my
But it's an
case,
option.
It totally worked.
Well, I'm so glad that you shared that story with me. And I'm glad that it got you a little bit of relief.
Yeah, totally.
We have headlines to cover that might get other people some relief in their love lives. So can you stick around and we can talk?
Misery loves company.
Yeah. Let's talk about the dating dish then.
Indeed.
Dee's dating dish.
All right, Naomi. So you said dating is challenging enough for you right now. Would it be easier if you could virtual reality date?
Absolutely not.
Well, NBC News seems to think that it is. We've covered this a little bit before, but there was in this article, they went way, way deeper down the rabbit hole. And they said that in addition to VR dating being the wave of the future soon, they believe that by 2024, I don't know who they is, but the people, the scientists, smart people. The people, believe that by 2024, 70% of all couples are projected to meet online. And that's a big jump from the 24% that we have right now, which I think is underreported because people are still nervous to admit that they've met online. I honestly think it's already closer to 50%, but I am not a scientist. I'm just a dating scientist, but there's no PhD for that. So, virtual reality, their feeling is going to become the new thing, like the way that 10 years ago you talked about, swiping right, that wasn't even a thing. And the idea of meeting someone through a swipe app, I like your picture. Yes. That would have sounded ridiculous. So this sounds a little ridiculous to us right now that we might go on dates in a virtual reality environment, that they might have sensors where you can even get fed the scent of what that person smells like, which is one of the biggest factors in dating, actually, smell.
Yes.
So you can get that sort of, I guess, digitally delivered to you. But now they're looking at using biometrics and artificial intelligence to program apps who you're actually interested in. So, when you see someone that you're attracted to, your heart rate goes up and your breathing gets a little faster. And so there could be an app one day that matches you based on that and not based on anything that you check on a box. Still scary?
Yeah, I don't buy it. I mean, I can barely check my own email. So
this could check your email for you. I mean, they're even saying there might be like AI robots, love robots, because they said
I feel like we're getting every day we're getting one step closer to robots just completely taking over everything.
Well, yeah, and Ray, my previous co-host, actually believes that that's going to happen. But with the AI, they're saying relationships are hard to sustain over a period of time, and people have to both be committed to evolving. Which I think, having been married 10 years, is one of the cool things about being married, is that I keep getting to learn about him and grow and evolve myself.
Yeah.
But I mean, in 2024, that might be just so passé that you could just have a robot that just adapts to you, and then you don't have to learn anything or change yourself. The robot will
we
change.
do have robots already. I mean, I have one of those Roombas, and I've got a whole drawer of vibrator. What kind of I mean. Yeah,
but you could have a relationship.
You mean like a Roomba that also vibrates? No,
Roomba that vibrates and also tells you how beautiful you are and how great you are, and waves at you from the crowd, and then also then knows how to read your emotions. Like if you're having a bad day, to know that that's not the good time to bring up, a topic that might offend.
I guess I'm just poly with my robots. I've got Alexa that plays whatever music I want, and I got.
See, you're already living in that world. So basically, you're one step in. You might as well keep going. Well, maybe this is an app that would be more appropriate for you. There was an article about a new app called Hater.
I already have it.
Oh, stop.
I do, but it's not effective. I don't mean to interrupt you. You can talk about it, but I'll tell you. I can show you.
She said that she wouldn't do online dating, and then she has Hater. Okay, let me tell you all at home what Hater's about. This guy Brendan Alper pitched it on Shark Tank this week, actually, and he came away with a $200,000 investment from Mark Cuban. So when you sign in, it's sort of like OkCupid, where it's asking you about your preferences, but instead of asking what you like, it's asking what you hate, and then it matches you based on mutual hating preferences. It launched in February, and now they have 750,000 users. Naomi Grossman
minus
among
one.
them.
I mean, it's so dumb, though. I mean, the things that you hate, they're not really. I mean,
like
the things
mohawks,
I hate
tattoos.
strollers. I hate Costco.
You hate strollers?
Yes. they're
What
always
strollers do to you?
they're always in the way. Like it's always like some woman like in Barney's or someplace that like she can't just stay home for a little while until the kid can walk. But no, like, and it's
No, she
invariably bigger than like it's like a motor home.
It's so funny. I was just saying to somebody over the weekend that when you're pregnant, people act like you're made out of porcelain. They're like, "Oh my God, can I open the door for you? Do you need help? Let me get a chair for you." And then the minute you have the baby and you have a stroller, they're like, "Out of my way, bitch." Like,
Well, yeah,
pushing you through.
Well, because they have to. That's the only way to get around you because you're all of a sudden so much bigger than you were when you were pregnant because you've got this motor home.
I'm gonna choose to respond rather than react here.
Oh yeah, I was.
Tell me more about
Sounds
hater.
like I need some more yoga. Breathe in, breathe out. I hate strollers. Yeah, no, but I mean, like, there's no strollers didn't come up on the app. Like when I signed in, I heard about this over the summer, and I was like, I have to hear what this is. So yes, I downloaded it, but it's not like I'm meeting people on it. I mean, the things that I hate, I can't remember. That's like the police. I do.
Wait,
hate
is that
the
one of the
police.
options?
Yeah,
the
I
police?
think it was.
Wait, so is it like
Oh my
dumb
gosh.
things that you hate? Like I can say I hate pickles. Does it get a match me with other people who hate pickles,
Yes,
or is it like
exactly.
legit things? Like
No, it's that.
okay,
Yeah, and so you're gonna start a relationship based on your equal dislike for pickles. It's so stupid.
I agree with you that
Yeah.
this is a terrible idea.
Yeah.
However,
it sounds fun.
I think a lot of people make decisions in this way on dating apps right now. And so I mean, I appreciate that he wanted to bring this to market. I think it's really stupid that Mark Cuban would invest this much in any dating app, let alone this one. Because, I mean, how can you build a relationship based on hate? It's just totally the wrong idea. But catchy, very catchy.
Yeah.
Because people will say to me, "Oh, well, I was looking on Tinder and I thought that he was a great match, but then I saw that he really likes Coldplay and I hate Coldplay, so it's never going to work out." And it's like, what?
Right.
So
that
he's
has
perfect
nothing
in every way except he doesn't like Coldplay, so you're just like not gonna go out with him.
Yeah. I mean, but people will really say that. And it's like, why are we making our decisions based on things that are so arbitrary? We're looking for reasons to hate.
But you're right. Like it's a good enough idea that it got me, someone who's totally anti, total Luddite.
You're like, hates dating apps.
Yes. Yeah, hates anything that plugs in, really. And yet I totally had to download it just to know what it was, just to see it. So the novelty, I think, is enough. You know what I mean? Like the little button that says,
Hate.
that easy or whatever from Staples. Like I had to have it. Like, does it do anything? No, it's basically like an Alexa that affirms me, but I have to, push it.
I'm going to give you a homework assignment, a dating homework assignment, because I really want to know what would happen if you actually got on a date with someone you met from Hater. Like, would you get to the date and find that you actually have things in common, or would it all be about just the things that you hate? I don't know. Somebody take this homework assignment. Lauren,
It's true though. I mean, if
What do I have to
Naomi,
lose?
I
somebody.
think here's my advice to this idiot that's invested all this money. The site needs to be like, what do you hate? Where you actually get to pick those things. Like if I actually could articulate strollers, Costco, all things that plug in. Like if I could do that, like I might actually find love. Like if I could find somebody that hated all those things, I mean that sounds like a perfect match.
Like
truly.
specific to you
That
instead of just a
doesn't
list.
exist.
Instead of
things that
just
you're
like,
clicking.
oh, okay, yeah, I sure, cops, okay. You know what I mean?
It does kind of exist. It's called Match.com.
Yeah, that's probably true.
I know. It's funny how with technology just kind of goes in circles, right?
Right.
And then we're like, if only we had this thing that did the thing that, wait a minute.
Oh.
We already
That's
had
what
that
it
thing.
was initially.
Well, you think you're over relationships and dating apps and all that. Japanese women really got you beat. It turns out, it says that there was an article in Japan Times, and I've actually heard recently about the Japanese government being really concerned about the future of the Japanese people because they're seeing that women are marrying at lower rates. They're even doing that in the U.S., but and having babies, waiting until later and later to have babies, or not at all, because we think we have a Type A culture. Like they're working all the time, and so they interviewed these women, and 60% of the Japanese women said that they were uninterested in romantic relationships. Now, 80% of them still were like, "Well, I'd like to get married," but they're like, "I'm just too tired right now to even put my mind to that. But then when they looked at men, the numbers were reversed. 80% of them were like, oh, well, I want a girlfriend, but I'm not really trying to marry her. Like 60% of them only wanted marriage. So, I mean, what do you think needs to change for are the Japanese people doomed? Are they going to be unable to procreate because they're just working too hard? They're just too tired to even give a damn about relationships.
I mean, I think it's like to thine own self be true. I commend these Japanese women for knowing what they want and realizing like maybe a relationship isn't important enough. I mean, I feel that way about myself. It's not to say that I wouldn't like to find love. I don't want it enough to get on an app. Like I want it to show up for me across a crowded bar, like and the slow-mo time warp, music to pipe in. Like that's what I want. And it's not quite happening like that, but
it could one day. Maybe if you get your robot, or we can send a couple robots over to Japan. It's also not happening for another actress that is back on the market, Jennifer Lawrence, y'all. I know some guys are like, yeah, cheering. But it's sad news whenever there's a breakup. She broke up with her boyfriend, film director Darren Aronofsky. Just for your own edification, Darren Aronofsky is 48 years old. Jennifer Lawrence, 27. Turns out Darren does have a son who she says he's a great father to. And he's 12, which technically makes him closer in age to Jennifer than Darren. No big deal. But I was kind of puzzled by this matchup anyway. They fell in love while they were filming the very strange film Mother. Did you see that?
I did not. I
God,
wish I had. Everyone talks about it.
Oh my
it's
God.
like they all
I have not
hate it.
recovered. I just saw a screening actually last week and I'm still like, wait, what happened? Like it was a really good straight ahead thriller for like three quarters and then it just goes weird.
That's what I heard. Everyone that saw it said, yeah, the first like
You're like,
3/4
oh,
of it
what's
were
gonna
like
happen?
really interesting, and then you're like, oh.
And then you're like, no, that's not going to happen. But yeah, I mean, but okay, so
I love him.
very interesting, talented, but yeah, a little out there. But here's why they're saying the breakup happened. One, because of the age gap. Because I mean, obviously, have you ever dated somebody with that much of an age
Not
gap?
that much.
Who could
pretty
be
big.
her father, technically?
Well, I mean, I guess technically.
There was a sexagenarian in my solo show. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But
I'm like sexagenarian.
Well, no, he was, bored. He was almost 70.
Gotcha.
70, 60, whatever. He was 60. He was solid 60. And yeah, but that
I thought you were meaning something.
that
else.
was just a happy ending. That didn't actually
Oh my goodness.
turn into anything more.
Well, this was like a relationship for a year, but she had just sent to Vogue in September how happy she was and that he's just so great and she doesn't have to worry about anything with him. And then apparently it was the promotion of Mother that really pushed her over the edge because it was like she was just acting in it and she's just like, oh yeah, Mother, go see it. And he's like, this is my tour de force. I wrote it. I directed it. I've been living and breathing this movie. And she just kind of got a little bit over it. I mean, I wonder... You've been on a lot of sets. I mean, have you seen workplace romance on set go awry? Have you been part of a romance on set? Oh! Some tea just spilled.
I know, right? I feel like now in this whole like Me Too culture, though, it's like in my case, it was totally mutually understood. We were both very hot for each other. So, I don't want to. I'm going to protect his privacy right now and not spill
nice
too
of you.
much, too many details. But
you knew that when production was over, it was not. It was a May to December romance, or you weren't really sure. Maybe I'm trying to read your face. right
I
now.
would.
I'm trying to translate for you all at home through Naomi's eyes.
What do they call that when you're on location and a little romance, like an on location romance? It's not real because you're not, you're far away from your
Sure.
significant others.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
That happens.
So I think that had a huge part to do with all of it.
Okay, it got too hot in here. We're going to have to take a break because the tea almost started spilling everywhere. I am here with Naomi Grossman, and she's going to stick around and answer your questions with me in Technically Dating right after this. Dates and Mates is sponsored by Damona Hoffman's Relationship Boot Camp. Has your relationship hit a plateau? Do you and your spouse need to get your groove back? Are the pressures of life getting in the way of you and your partner truly connecting? Then Damona Hoffman's Relationship Boot Camp is just the thing you need to get your romance right. This free 1-week e-course is available at the website freerelationshipbootcamp.com. You can get a daily exercise delivered to your inbox that will help you rediscover romance with your mate. You can try new bonding activities, get interesting insights into the way your partner thinks, and crack the code on long-term relationship health. I designed this course myself, and it's been tried and tested time and time again by happy couples who have reignited that spark. And the course is totally free. So just go to freerelationshipbootcamp.com today to sign up. Yep, join me, Damona Hoffman, at freerelationshipbootcamp.com, and I'll get your relationship back on track. Welcome back to Dates and Mates. Your host, Damona Hoffman, love expert extraordinaire, here with Naomi Grossman, actress, live performer, yogi, general good person. Dating disastrous. Add that to your resume. But sometimes you can get a little perspective from situations when it's not you going through it. Mm-hmm. So we have your questions that you've posted on the Techspert app, which you can get for free, by the way, on the App Store. But the best and the brightest make it here on Dates and Mates for Technically Dating.
Technically Dating.
All right, let's dive in, Naomi. We got to get some people some help.
Yeah.
This one comes to us from a young lady. She's from California. She says, I was dating my ex for almost 8 years. During this time, we got rid of social media little by little. But I wanted mine back because I missed it. He was always so against it, said it was pointless if you're with someone. So we broke up a week ago. And lo and behold, he gets an Instagram 4 days after we break up, not even adding me. What does this mean? I'm furious because after fighting with me about it for so long, he gets one ASAP. Boys.
I mean, that's so hypocritical of him, and I hate him with you. Breathe in. I hate him. Breathe out. I hate him. But technically, he's doing you a great favor by not being your friend or follower or fan or whatever on Instagram. Like, you don't need that. You don't want him. Like, I mean, it's hard to block like that, but it's necessary. Like, you need to not see this person in any way, not even their photos.
Yeah, don't even be mad that he didn't friend you. What I'm mad about is that I feel like the reason that he didn't want you to have social media before is because he was jealous and did not trust, because I don't know what he's been up to.
Right.
But I mean, who cares if you have social media?
He's not dead to you.
He said it's just for if you're with someone, it's pointless.
That's ridiculous.
The last time I checked, social media was not just for hookups.
Right. Now just drop some acid and be done with that.
Be done with it.
Loser.
All right. This one comes to us from a young female. She says, so my best friend told me that she has feelings for me. When she told me, I was happy and I couldn't stop smiling because I feel the same way. And I told her that. It's just that she's always been there for me and she's the most important person in my life, someone who I never want to lose. But I'm stuck on if my feelings are really true. How do I find out? Or like, what do I do?
Ooh, that's
I love
tricky.
how honest people are on Techspert. It's just like, it's just stream of consciousness questions.
Right.
She's like, obviously, she's stuck in it, Naomi.
I know. I feel like I had the same thing happen to me once, but with a yoga teacher.
That's why you took yoga.
Right?
We get it now.
That's how I'm so skilled at yoga.
Right? It's like, you should come back again and we can really work through some of that.
Well, you know, it's natural though when somebody's like making adjustments and you know
they're touching
that
you.
feeling
Touch is
after
really
yoga.
powerful.
You know, it's
Yeah.
like this sort of euphoric, like almost like after sex sort of feeling you feel. And so I was confusing that. You know, the deep breaths for deep breaths.
But can
Anyway.
you relate to having a friendship, even, you know, with a guy that you get confused when you're close with someone? Sometimes it becomes something more.
Yeah.
Is that too dangerous? They're BFFs?
I mean, if she feels like, do you want to see her naked? If so, then
See her naked.
go for it. But I mean, for me, I really don't see my girlfriends that way. So that's a major red flag.
Yes, I can relate to that. I would say really think about, because it seems like she didn't get the idea to date her until her friend said something first.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't like she was really thinking about it and then she was happy because she had this idea all along. So I wonder if it's really worth the risk of the friendship to pursue it. But I don't know. Drop some acid.
Like if they
That's
both
gonna be the
mutually
name
have
of
feelings
this
and then
show.
they like talk about it, I think it's a little bit different, right? Like if
Right.
they both already had those pre-existing feelings rather than like
It's a pre-existing feeling, like a condition.
I mean, I agree. You got to be careful if it's your best friend. I mean, I had this experience. You know, I have a best friend who we won't say his name, but
okay. Okay.
He somebody, and I mean somebody, a mutual friend of ours had said to me, so and so really loves you. And he said, but he's never going to act on it unless, like, you're the alpha, like you're the man in this between the two of you. So if anybody's gonna make something happen, it's you. And he was right. And so I did. I actually, I went there. I wrote him a love letter back. And by back, I do mean assuming that my friend was not actually lying to me.
He said that you said that he said that she said that
Right.
you have a crush on me.
Basically.
And how'd that work out?
So he got the letter, read it, thought about it for a minute, and then came back to me and said, yeah, I just don't see you in that way. Oh, which was so painful. To this, I mean, I'd like to think that our mutual friend wasn't just setting me up or messing with me. But to this day, I don't actually know. The good news is we are such close friends that it made it a little weird for like the week. But we're that close that we survived that, and probably are closer even since.
So it sounds like Naomi's a go for it on that situation.
Go for it. If you're seeing it, if you close your eyes and you see them naked, yes.
Okay, that's the benchmark. If it's a yes behind your eyelids,
Behind the
then
eyes, yeah.
yes. Okay, so this one comes to us from a female. She says, I know you said no to Tinder, but you revealed you're on Haters. So if you're going to hook up with someone off of Tinder, she asks, how would you go about it? How do you dress? Where would you go? Would you go on a date, or would you go to one another's place and just jump right into it? Would you put in any effort at all, or just kind of go with whatever? How do you get your
that's
Tinder
what they
date?
want, right? They want to just meet up.
No,
Like
it's
in
not
the
just what
alley if
all
they
of them
can.
want.
Well, I don't know. I think they all go to the
people.
Hudson. Every time I go to that bar on my corner, it's just full of folks looking awkward with one another, waiting to, for the hour to be over so they can go back to somebody's house. Yeah, I think.
Okay, I'm gonna give my Tinder tips.
Tell me.
First, you got to get offline quickly. It's even more awkward. I promise you, it's more awkward if you spend 2 to 3 weeks texting each other and you think that you have a real rapport. You're going to get to the date and realize that all of the like low-hanging fruit topics have been discussed, and you're sitting there across from one another like, I don't really know this person and I don't have anything to talk to them about. So don't do that. Just get offline and like get to that date. An hour is a good amount of time for the first date to just see if you want to see them again. Now, look, if you're just trying to hook up, just go for it.
Craigslist.
But yeah, Tinder's good for that too.
Okay.
But if you're really trying to find a relationship, yes, you should go on a real date, not just go to one another's place. You should dress like you want to impress that person, and you should put your best foot forward and, really show up like you're trying to get to know them. That's what
right.
I would say.
Yeah.
And if you just want to boink them, just do it. Okay, we're gonna do one more question, and then we're gonna move into our final segment. Let's see. This lady says, I'm still hung up on my ex, and it's been a year since we split. He was everything to me, and he was my best friend. Since we broke up, I feel lost and I can't move on. What do I do? It's becoming too painful to be in love with him continuously.
Oh,
I know.
God.
I would say, first of all, don't be in love with him continuously, because if it is,
But it's easier said
torturing
than
you.
done. You can't just tell someone. I mean,
Well, you have to. I mean, she's clearly not acknowledging the reality of the situation.
Yeah.
They are not together anymore. And keeping the hope alive for that relationship that has passed is doing daily damage to her.
Yeah, I don't think LSD is going to do it for this one. I think she needs to move to Tuscany.
Tuscany sounds
And-
under the Tuscan sun.
Right.
Yourself a nice
I mean,
Italian man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She needs to just change it all together. Like, find a hobby in a faraway land. Like, change everything. I don't know. Sometimes changing your environment really helps.
Yeah, you're right.
You
You're
know,
right. It could be.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I really wished I hadn't wasn't all of a sudden living in this place that was 4 blocks away. But there was nothing about it that reminded me of him, other than of course the outside. And then I'd be like, oh, that's our brunch spot, and oh, that's where we deliver our, dry cleaning. So that part was hard, like leaving the house. But being somewhere new that doesn't remind you of them, like Tuscany,
Right.
is a great one if you can afford the plane ticket.
Right.
And villa.
get a hobby. Like, even if you can't go, maybe it's yoga. Maybe it's boxing. Maybe you need to like punch some, what do you call them? The boxing.
Punching bag.
Oh, thank you. Thanks, producer Lauren.
I
Punch a
agree.
punching
Doing
bag.
something physical.
Crafting,
I mean,
anything.
there's studies about the endorphins and whatnot that are released when you exercise. It makes you feel better.
Yes. We got to get out of that rut, girl. It's been a year. It's time. It's time for the show to come to a close, but we always end things off with a little more wisdom from you. And I always feel like your first answer is always your first instinct. So we're going to cap it off with some dating ... I will begin a sentence, Naomi, and you finish it with whatever comes to you from the top of your brilliant mind.
Is this like one word rapid?
One word rapid fire, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Number 1, blank is always sexy.
Blank is always sexy.
No wrong answers.
Brains.
Brains is always sexy.
Brains is always sexy.
Number 2, blank is never sexy.
Strollers are never sexy.
Number 3, the biggest red flag on a dating profile is?
Earring in the left ear.
You would know. Number 4, the most common first date mistake is?
Talking about your ex.
Number 5, the most important quality in a wife is?
That she doesn't cook. I'm just saying I don't
I must
cook.
be the perfect wife. Number 6, the most important quality in a husband is?
Oh, venerates you.
Oh, I was going to
Yeah.
say that he does cook. 'Cause
Or-
you got to eat.
right. Someone's got to
Somebody-
cook. No, you're right. I'm going to starve to
That
death.
he venerates you. You were so much fun, Naomi. I love that you came in here and shared your stories and your insights with us. You can follow her at naomigrossman.net, and you're also on the socials at Naomi W. Grossman.
Indeed.
Thank you so much for
You
being
can
here.
find me on Hater if you also hate the police. Maybe we have a future.
I hope you can find love on Hater. If you can do it, anybody can on Hater. Oh gosh, we have to go, but please keep up with me on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook at Damona Hoffman. And don't forget to download the Textpert app to post your questions, and you might end up on a future show. And for your wedding planning needs, my friends at Zola have something very special for you, a $50 credit towards your wedding registry at zola.com/dates. That's ZOLA.com/dates. And be sure to leave a review if you love the show. Tell somebody, and we'll be back next week with more Dates and Mates.